So in today's video I have listed 5 potential players Walsall could be looking for from the National League systems to come in this summer transfer window. So obviously now we're approaching the summer transfer window. A lot of teams have announced their release and retain list. The time I'm recording this, we're still waiting for Walsall to release that list. But I've decided to go through a few of the National League. I've gone through the main National League and then the two National League South and National League North to identify 5 players Walsall could potentially be looking at to bring in this summer. It's obvious Walsall still need to add some quality to really push for playoff promotion next season. So yeah, I think the National League deserves a lot more credit. Some of the players that have come up into the EFL, the real good quality players, have come through the National League systems. And yeah, like I said, should deserve more credit. And when I was doing my research into this, there's some real talented players out there and some real gems that some EFL clubs could be picking up. So let's get into the video. I've gone through a few positions. Firstly, let's start off in centre back. I've gone with one player for this. I found it hard really to pick for this one. There's a few players when doing my research into it that really caught my eye. I like the look of James Clark at Solihull Moors, not to be confused with the ex-Sadlers player. James Clark's been a real consistent player for the Moors for the last few seasons really. Andy Wing's coming there, he's gone to more of a back three and he's slotted in as a right centre back there, can play as a right back, and yeah, he's been a real consistent player for Solihull Moors and deserves a shout. I like the look of Nico Tavares at Dagenham and Redbridge as well. He seems like a real good all-round centre back, and he's getting rave reviews in the National League. For all of his abilities really. He's really good aerially. I think he's in the top 5 for aerial duels in the National League, and he's a really good ball carrier, so he deserves another shout. But the player I'm going to go for is Danny Cullinge at Barnet. Going through his career so far, he's had an interesting pathway through his career so far. He started his career at Stuttgart in Germany, and he started there, and he had 5 years at the start of his career in Germany. So yeah, a really good, unique pathway, but obviously that would have done him the world of good and a good way to learn his trade in Germany. And now he's had a really good season for Barnet. Barnet finished second in the National League. I think he's chipped in with 9 goals from centre back, which shows he's a real threat off set pieces defensively and going forward in the opposition box as well, which will be a good sign for Walsall. Half of Walsall's goals last season come off set pieces. We've really looked to threat off corners and free kicks. So if we're going off that looks like a real promising signing that would suit our system. If we go on to his job as a whole, really as a defender, he looks really comfortable in the National League. He's really good aerially, reads the game really well, and I don't think there'll be many defenders that beat him in a one-on-one situation. So yeah, a player Walsall should be looking at really in centre backs. So next position I identified was the right wing back position. I've gone with 2 names here. It's obvious Walsall need a clear and natural right wing back if we really want to push next season. Since Liam Bennett got recalled from Cambridge in January 2023, we haven't really replaced that position, which is a big worry for my liking. And if we don't do it this summer transfer window, I don't think we ever will. I think Tom Knowles, provides a lot of energy in that position, but it's clear to see he's not a right wing back. He's more of an attacking minded player, playing off the wings or even through the middle as a striker. He's just clearly not a right wing back. So Walsall really need to address this. And there's some real good right wing back options in the National League. Firstly, Tyler Golden at FC Halifax would be a good shout for Walsall. A player out of contract with Halifax in the summer. Obviously Halifax got to the playoffs this season, and yeah, they're a really good set up there and a really good defensive unit, which Golden was a real good part of. He might not be the best going forward as an attacking wing back, but what he will provide the team is stability. He does his job really well, provides a lot of energy going down that right hand side, a good athlete in his trade. And yeah, he's an all-round solid player, one of the best probably in the right wing back job in the National League, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of interest in the summer for him. Another right wing back now we've got down is Connor Barrett at AFC Fylde. I think this one would suit the mould of Walsall, the philosophy we're going for in transfers, trying to buy young and hungry players to develop and then eventually sell on for a profit eventually later down the line. I think he would suit this model at Walsall. He's out of contract with Fylde in the summer. I believe they're trying to discuss new contract terms with him, but if an EFL club comes in for him, I think he would snatch at the chance to play up at a higher level. Yeah, he's been a real consistent performer for Fylde. Going through some of his highlights, I was really impressed with his goal against Dorking Wanderers. I put it on screen now. I think he tackled, intercepted the play and ran from his own half all the way up and put a real good clinical goal in. Really direct, that's what we need from a right wing back. And like I said, he's been consistent for Fylde team who've been recently promoted recently, I think. And they've stayed up, and he's been a real part of that team's reason why they've stayed up this season. Could operate as a right back or a right wing back, so would suit the system. And then them two are the names I'm going to go for in the right wing back department. I identified another position of attacking midfield. I believe Isaac Hutchinson will be on the move in the summer. I think teams from League One will be interested in getting a signature of Hutchinson. So yeah, I believe he's going to go. And in realisation of that, I have looked elsewhere for attacking midfielders. I think the man we have to go and get is Reece Smith at Maidenhead United. I actually watched him in person when Oxford United played Maidenhead in the first round of the FA Cup. I think it was after the Sheppey game when we travelled up there, and when we travelled back, I stopped by and watched that game. I was really impressed with Reece Smith on the day. You could see he offers a lot of potential in himself. Really, I really like the profile of the player. He can play in a versatile amount of positions as well. He can play as an attacking midfielder off either wing as well. So could be a real good option for Walsall. This 22-year-old player as well. I think we bought Hutchinson at the same age, so it could be a similar sort of buy really. Another player, like I said, who's hungry, and if we was to buy him, would be someone that wants to prove himself in the EFL. Be his first move up as a pro player. And like I said earlier in the video, there is some real good boys in the National League at the moment, and I think he corresponds that really. 11 goals in 40 odd games for Maidenhead, as I finished 14th in the National League. Like I said, I really like the look of this player. He carries the ball really well into spaces, gets his team up the pitch. He's technically really comfortable on the ball as well. And I'll play a few of the goals that he scored this season. The one that caught my eye was the goal at Solihull Moors. I thought that was an excellent goal from the edge of the box. And a few other similar goals as well when he dribbles through the midfield, cuts their team open really, the opposition team, and he puts it in the back of the net. Looks a real promising player, and one Walsall should be targeting in the summer, no doubt. Final position and the final player I've identified was the striker. There's no glossing it up. Walsall have had troubles to find a consistent goal scorer this season. In the striking department, we had Freddie Draper at the start of the season. Obviously, he got recalled by Lincoln, and then ever since then, we haven't really had a consistent striker that's bagged in the goal. So something Walsall will be looking at in the summer, no doubt. I know we've probably got one on the bench in Danny Johnson, but obviously there's something happened there with Sadler that doesn't rate him. So we've probably got to move on from that. And the player I've identified, I went into the National League safe to find this one, was Ollie Pearce at Worthing. He's really took off this season. 28 years old, 40 goals, and he's helped Worthing get into the playoff finals, which is a really good achievement for the club, and for himself to score 40 goals this season is a real good milestone for him. But when I was doing my research, I weren't just impressed with his goal scoring, I was impressed with his overall play really. He likes to drop into space and create the moves for his goals. He'll receive the ball in pockets in between their midfield. He'll receive it on the half turn, spray out to the fullbacks or wingers, and I was really impressed in terms of that. I thought he had a really good footballing brain, and one, I think, for let alone for that footballing, the way he plays, I think there'll be teams in the AFL no doubt be looking at him, or minimum high end of the National League. Yeah, that he's gonna be on the move, I think, in the summer, and one Walsall should be looking at really. I think it's worth a gamble. I don't think we could go any worse at the moment with some of the strikers we've got at the club. So yeah, I think, yeah, worth a gamble. 28 years old, and like I said with all the other players, he's going to be hungry. He's going to be, you know, a real good player that we could utilise if we were to bring him in. So yeah, the fifth player I've identified, Ollie Pearce. So there we have it. They're the 5 players So there we have it. They're the 5 players I've identified from the National League, National League / National League North or South really, that Walsall should be looking at in the summer to bring in. You know, like I said, it's going to be a busy summer for Walsall. Obviously, we're still waiting, when I'm recording this video, of the released and retained list. Yeah, that's going to be big in terms of if we're going to sign any of these players really. But you know, like I said earlier in this video, the National League goes under the radar really in terms of real good talents, and one Walsall should utilise more. Obviously, we brought in Jamie Jellis and Harry Williams, I think, last season from the National League. 2 promising players, so I think we'll be looking at the same again and trying to bring in these good talents from the lower leagues. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. Leave in the comments what you think on the targets I've identified, and leave any that I've left out in the video. It'll be good to hear from you viewers. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and up the Saddlers.